Hey rail fans, Train Guy again, and this is the first stream that I'm going to do in a wee series I've got planned, where we're going to do a one run per route tour around the world. Eddie's Adventures, hello, welcome. This is going to be the first of a few streams we're going to do. This is the first leg. We're going to do the Isle of Wight, we're going to do East Coast Ways. Going to be broken up into loads and loads of bits. Plan is eventually to hit everything. Ooh, that's a nice picture. Oh, it's been taken from the back. That's cool. Somebody spent ages flying their camera up there to get that. So, very first part of the trip, so we're going to take a little trundle along the Isle of Wight. We're going to go to Ryde Pier. Not a long journey at all. Takes about 25 minutes, something like that. So we'll just get rattled into it. So we'll get the key on, power lever on, and we want to do our instrument lights, headlights, unlock the doors on the right, and we want to find this panel here. That turns on the passenger lights. Reverser into the first notch. We're not supposed to use the second notch on the Isle of Wight apparently. And I'm just going to jump into the rear cab, flick the instrument lights on, and that just lights up the display behind the destination board there. I think I've already turned the front ones on. Yep. There's not much to really do in this train. It's quite a simple setup once you've got the keys in place. And we'll just get ready to lock the doors about 5 seconds early. If that sounds a bit like a whistle, it's because it is. There it is there. Easy air from the pneumatics. Let's just get the boot in a bit now, and should have had it in a minute ago, but not to worry. There's a couple of stops on this line where we sit for a minute anyway. So the plan with these streams is we're going to do the first leg today is getting to the mainland basically, and then we're going to take a wee tour around the UK routes, off to America, all around Europe, via routes that somehow or other do connect to each other. There is a link between each one, some a bit more tenuous than others, and we're going to wind up in a certain spot in the south of France with a view to coming back via Paris, and it's probably going to take so long to do all these that by then there might just be a new way for us to get back home in the game. Who knows? But the plan is a number of streams leading up to a fast return home, and I have just completely missed the first stop there. So we're off to a good start, because I think I'm going to have to back it all the way up. Can't stick your head out the window, unfortunately, but luckily there's no signals here, so we'll just make like that didn't happen. Right, nobody saw a thing, we're good. Not even that far behind time. So the very first stop on this proposed tour of every route, and missed the station. Marvellous. They're quite quick stops here, so we should be underway again fairly sharpish. Okay, let's try and, excuse me, be a bit more prepared for the station this time. I did actually have a practice of this earlier on as well, and did everything I was supposed to, but as always, the minute you go on stream, it all goes belly up. Thing is, the brakes are actually really good on this thing if you're prepared for it and doing the appropriate speeds. So, again, pretty quick passenger load and unload. I can't remember if this signal's tied to the doors or whether it's actually waiting on something coming. I think it's waiting on something coming the other way, rather than a door checkpoint like some of them are. Gauges in this cab, they're a wee bit out the way, which makes it a bit of a nuisance for watching the in-cab gauges, unfortunately. Hello Samson, welcome mate. Yeah, Isle of Wight, idea that I had to try and interest myself in doing streams again as much as anything else. We're going around the world, mate, in as much as we can within Train Sim. But I've got a little sort of sequence of routes all planned out that are going to take us around the south of the country, up north, across the Atlantic, round America, back to Europe, and by the time I've done them all, you never know, we might have a really shiny, fast new way of getting back across the channel. Who knows? That be the plan anyway. I thought with, you know, with holidays and stuff coming up, I might have a bit more time to do this kind of thing. And I thought, well, let's do something that, with a bit of structure that maybe just gets me doing this a bit more often. Because I did quite like doing it, you know. Obviously not going to attempt it all in one sitting. I'm not that crazy. I'll break it up into chunks of an hour and a half, 2 hours. This is a cool wee train. I mean, we're only doing 45, but we feel like we're clipping along at a reasonable old rate because we're so low down. But actually, they've got that effect of, you know, the amplification of speed based on how high above the ground you're seeing. They've got that quite well, I think. Attention, seeing as we're coming up to the station. Lovely. That's how we do a stop. We've even got a wee minute, and because I didn't open the put the seat down, we can get out the door, have a quick shufty about. I don't know if I must have been out here before because I've taken the ice creams already. Oh well. Not to worry. Right, better just yeah, let's have a quick look inside the vintage trains. I actually think that's quite funny that we did that. All in a good cause, apparently, that we have to look at that. I think how you have to actually duck to get into the train as well, and if you put the seat down, you cannot open the cab door anymore. I'll tell you what we're going to do, seeing as it's a nice summer day. We're going to open our window. Okay, so the door's closed up, and they're actually almost insta-shut doors, these. They're really cool. Felt like I had the cab light on there. Never noticed the cows in the field there before. I do like the attention to detail. Some of the stuff along here, very, very detailed route. It might be short, but my word, put a lot of effort in. I mean, it feels handcrafted. Do you know what it feels like? It feels like driving around on a really elaborate train set. Like, you know those really, really impressive displays that you see in, like, model railway shows that people have obviously spent years putting together. It feels like playing around with one of them. But that's kind of how I think of the whole game these days now. It's just like having a great big train set to play around with. You know, it's lots of little bits of lines rather than mumping at the fact it doesn't have the entire rail network of my choice in it. It's like the train sets I used to play with as a boy, only it's much cooler because you can actually drive these. Tell you what, you couldn't get very much Hornby for 20 quid, that's for sure, not even in the 1980s. So this is probably the longest uninterrupted stretch of line. Probably it absolutely is the longest uninterrupted stretch of it. A little bit more power. I like how they've, since I last played this, they've definitely fixed a lot of the little things. The display boards, for instance, showing properly. One of them was always blank, and Shanklin wouldn't come up on either of them, I don't think, whereas now it does, and it displays correctly at both ends. And the tail lights are fixed as well. Those never used to come on at the D end or the A end. They wouldn't come on. But I did try it both ways earlier, and not a problem. Good quality clankage going on there. We like clank. Clank, clank. Love a bit of clank. Reduction sign, also a reminder that, or warns you that the station's coming up. That doesn't inherently do that, but once you've driven the route a few times, you become one of your sort of waypoint type marker things that you'll set for yourself along here. Nailed it. Sadly, my driving skills are not as sharp with the 72 stock. That might need a wee practice run before I attempt that on stream. Okay, so we're actually running slightly ahead of time again, which is all good. This wee platform just kind of sneaks up on you. I don't think every train stops here either. Or is it just in one direction that they stopped there? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I've come blasting through here the other way at a fair old rate of knots still before. Oh, maybe not. I have to admit, I wasn't paying a huge amount of attention when I was driving up here earlier. I was just trying to get the feel for the train again. I was still trying to concoct this trailblazing route of mine in my head. fairly quick bit of line, but I don't think it's that far to the next. I don't know that we get up to full speed on this stretch. I can't remember. Nah, we're not going. It's less than a mile. We might just brush off at 45 before we have to hit the brakes. We were getting a caution signal, but the station signal itself is fine. Could be a red up at the end of the platform though. Ah, yeah. Red up ahead. And I think this one does stay red until the other train goes past us. Whoa, what's gone wrong with the brakes? Those felt all horrible. Oh, is there a bridge or something in front of me? Yeah. We made it on by quite some way, but depends what your last comment was, Samson. I saw a cool idea, and that was it, I'm afraid. If there was anything after that, did not get me. But YouTube started throwing funny messages at me, and I had to sort of not reset the stream, but the thing I watch it on was making me back out. I don't have the chat coming up on my... I don't get it through my console though. I have YouTube open on another device next to me. Oh. Just accidentally emergency braked. Good thing this train doesn't have any modern newfangled safety doohickeys. We need to fix that one. We don't need to. It would be nice if they fixed the AI lighting. Oh, the French line. It's good. It's really good. Hugely enjoying that. That's penciled in for the last stop. The last, or at the moment it's the last place that I'll be going on this little sort of adventure thingy. So this is almost it already. This is second last station on the route. This tunnel suddenly starts to go uphill a bit halfway through it, just as we get to the station. So you kind of have to be ready to apply the power so as not to lose too much speed. Just as it starts to turn, you can just make out in the headlights that the rails begin to turn away to the left. That's where the the gradient changes, and you'll note it, you'll just make out the cab wobbling as it happens. If you nail the power as you hit that, you shouldn't lose more than a mile an hour or so. Bryant, hello mate, welcome to the stream. Oh, what have I done to these brakes? They just don't feel very nice at all anymore after that little tap into the emergency. Ah, never mind, we're nearly there. One more to go. The timetable's fairly generous with this, as long as you're quite confident with the train. There's nothing. The brakes are really strong. There's nothing wrong with them at the moment. They're just not applying the way they usually do. Like they usually come on a bit stronger initially, which is why I think I've done something to them. But you don't need to sort of worry about the brakes on this train too much. It's just getting used to not moving the handle too far, because you don't want to go beyond the EP settings, which I did actually do earlier on, which I think might be the root of some of my problems, if I'm being honest. Very last leg now. And then we're going to swap over to East Coastway. Watch for the speed limit change. Oh, there we go. The brakes are behaving again the way I would expect them to. Speed limit change on the way in here. Buckets of time. Absolutely gallons of time. Oh, Samson got yourself a streaming PC. Very nice. Lovely, lovely. I'm going to write myself a little note actually, just to check if I'm subscribed to you or not. Because I always make mental notes to myself during streams to do these things, and then I lose the mental sticky pad. Because it turns out it's not that sticky. Or maybe it's too sticky, who knows? Right, Locky. So that's the very first trip. We've done our little trip. We've set off from home on the Isle of Wight. We've driven out to Ryde Pier. I believe there is a ferry stop here, and the hovercrafts and things. They used to land on the beach behind us. I don't know if there is still a hovercraft service or not. So, with leg one down, we shall carry on the East Coastway, on the second journey of our little trip through all the routes of Trainsim World 2. This will be probably the second half. I don't think I'm going to do too much more tonight, because the way I've got it broken down, I've got it in chunks where it's going to be sort of probably one or two big things each time. I don't know what happened to my voice there at the very end of that. Sorry. You're on Twitch though. Oh, shout yourself out all you like, mate. Nobody fucking watches me anyway. You might as well shout at a brick wall. Really need to look into this Twitch thing one of these days. It's one of these things I'm aware of but never really dipped into. So, East Coast Way. Still summer, because it's a summer tour. It's going to be summer everywhere we go. And the next morning, wait for it to load in, we continue our journey from Newhaven Marine. We're going up to Brighton, and from Brighton obviously connects to London. Now, we can't do the Brighton to London stretch in the game, but that obviously opens up the next little sort of section of the journey for next time, where we'll spend a day faffing about in London. There'll be a trip on the London Underground after a day's sightseeing in London, and then the last train out to the West Country from Paddington. We'll be taking an evening train out of Paddington, an express train, and that'll set us up for what's to follow. So, I'm going to do a very quick, let me just run through quickly in my head everything I need to do in this train, because this one I haven't driven for a wee while. I'm going to cheat and use the keyboard to speed things up as well. Oh, so I have to actually pull forward, right. Right, I think everything's actually set for me. Yep, we've got lights. Because of course we caught the last Brian ferry, didn't we? That's how we got here. There's your connection. Like I said, most of them are going to be much more tenuous than that. I don't even think there is a ferry from the Isle of Wight to here, but for our purposes that's where the Brian ferry came from. Right, so that's already been set for us. Yeah, that's all the cameras there is, isn't there? I don't think I forgot to do anything in here important, did I? Just the speed set. I can do that off the keyboard, that's fine. It would be cool if there was a keyboard for the DRA. If there is, and I don't know what it is, and somebody knows what it is, love it if they told me, but I suspect there just isn't one for that. Let's set the speed set. Another very, very nice looking route. I do enjoy this one a lot. The only thing that I don't like about this route is the view from the front of the cab is absolutely rubbish. I mean, it's supposed to be. The whole idea is it focuses the driver's attention on what's right in front of them instead of sightseeing, but I mean, come on, still. It's bleh. You got to start somewhere, man. It's good luck with that, though. It's good fun, mostly. Oh, let's get locked up. if I ever do find my way over to Twitch, Twitch was the very first of these apps that made me feel like an old man. Like I was just confused and didn't really understand what was supposed to be going on there. And it probably isn't that complicated, but... hey-ho. God, I sound like such a Luddite, don't I? Maybe something to look into over the holidays. Alright, so this is the two stations right on top of each other as well. Eee. Now see, this is the problem when you jump straight from one train into another. It takes you a few stops to get used to the handling again. Euro truck. Ah, see, I'd love to see that. Maybe on the next generation. Honestly, I have sort of toyed with the idea of moving up to PC, but priorities and that, man. You know what I mean? Plus, I know if I had access to a PC, I would just... oh, I spend enough time as it is already playing this stuff. If I had planes and trucks as well, that would just... that'd be the end of me. Nothing in the sidings at this time. Sometimes you see a freight train doing its stuff there, loading and unloading. I tell you what, one of the big things to me about switching platform would be the thought of having to rebuy all my trains and stuff again. At this point now, I mean, you don't really notice it so much when you're buying them as they come out. Oh shit! Right, we'll give that a second go, because that's not a very long one. That's twice in 2 days I've been through through a red signal. Oh fuck no, I wanted to replay the service. Right. Shitty balls. Right, we will do that again. I'm not going to quit this time. Do you know what? I've been bloody caught by that signal before as well. Ah, right. I see what you mean. Just a PC for right. Yeah, yeah. Sort of. I don't really know enough about streaming, to be honest with you. I do it straight from my PlayStation. I don't take it seriously enough to find out any of this stuff, if I'm being honest with you. Right, let's quickly go back and just set that up again and pretend absolutely nothing happened. Let's just go and get that 7 o'clock train again. Quite looking forward to PS5 though. I'm hoping to board that particular train next year. Har har har, see what I did there? Thank you very much, I'm here all week. Because it looks really, really good on that, even without any particular optimization. That's the word I was looking for. I don't think I get called a good example very often though. I don't know how you feel about that. No, thank you, that's very nice to say. Right, let's just quickly rattle through this setup again. So safety's on, get that key in. Reverser popped. That was already set for us. Headlights to daytime. And if those things don't go away, just stand up and sit down and that should clear all the stuff on the screen there. Right, take two. Ah, yeah, overlays and stuff like that would be cool, I suppose. I've been able to, yeah, I know what you mean by being able to control the stream. I do watch a lot of other people's and think, that'd be kind of nice to do. But then, excuse me, I go so long at a time without doing these things for various reasons as well. It's like, well, I'd probably go and spend all the money and then find myself in a month's long drought of content. Content. God, I hate even calling it that, to be honest with you. Right, so this is quite generous with the starting time. Admire the scenery. I used to live in a place called New Haven, actually. It's not this New Haven, one on the north side of Edinburgh. That was a while ago now, though. It was also a port, it was a fishing port many years ago. Right, let's get locked up, get ready to go. So we've got a green ahead of us already. The thing is, I bloody acknowledged an AWS and everything the last time I saw a yellow as I went through the bugger. I knew it was there. It was because I went past it at the station and it wasn't in my head. You're supposed to stop short enough of the signal to be able to see it, really. Right, so yellow ahead. Remember the yellow even if we breeze past it. But we're going to attempt not to. Oh, that was crap. That was really bad. Ah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. If I ever get round to it, I'll let you know. Largely dependent on free time at the moment. Right, so we're nearly done. We're going to be slightly overrun, so yellow signal. Remember that yellow. So we can pick it up a little bit because we know how far it is to the next signal. Pick it up to 40. We'll just cruise up to it. Remember, UK signals are not speed controlled by and large, so there's not a fixed limit you have to adhere to. You just need to know that you need to be going slow enough that you can stop when the signal comes into view. Which actually you can quite comfortably do from about 40 around here. Now see, if I'd got up and fannied about with the switches manually instead of being cocky and doing it all by keyboard, I'd have probably been running just late enough for that signal to have never been an issue. So there's where being too quick gets you into trouble sometimes. Hello, I like PC, welcome. Thanks for joining. This is part one of my grand tour of all the routes. We started on the Isle of Wight. We took the Bryan ferry to New Haven, and we're taking a run up to London now, up to Brighton, and that's going to be the end of part one. Don't know why I'm coming off the power there. Absolutely no need for that whatsoever. Still some distance away. Eventually, yeah, going to break it up over some streams alike. I've got a wee route planned out that's going to take us on a little tour of the UK routes over to the North Americas and then back to Europe. And what I'm hoping is the time it will take me to do all that, by the time I wind up in the south of France, we'll have a new, shiny, fast way of getting back across the tunnel, maybe. Or at least the last section of that journey. I hope to have time to do a bit more of these over the holidays. Nice. Well, seemingly with PS5, Samson, the frames are just, it's buttery smooth by all accounts. It's not been optimised for it, but just the extra horsepower makes a difference. Hey Neil Marath, thanks man. It was it's not been deliberate, that's for sure. The timekeeping. Whenever I keep the timetable, it's by happy accident generally. Turn the speed set back down to 10 because I don't think I'm actually going to really need it again before we get to Lewis. Ah, crap, I forgot there was another Railfan TV stream tonight. Okay, I definitely am going to... Oh, there's the rail tour. No, it's not. It's a freight train. Rail tour is a bit later on in the day. Well, maybe could have used speed set. Oh no, it's the main line that's downhill all the way, isn't it? Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about the performance on next-gen machines, so yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to in the new year. It actually runs, the new route runs fairly decently on my launch day PlayStation, it has to be said. On my launch day PS4, rather. Obviously nothing like how it will run on a next-gen machine. So maybe just a little sharpish on the brakes here. I wonder what that little platform's for. I need to find out. There's another one on the other side as well. I presume it's for some sort of crew operations. Right, sorry, I need to concentrate like hell on the way in here because I've not driven into the station for a while. I remember it being a series of sudden decelerations though. Could have been a bit later on that one. Oh, that's right, you brake at the signal. My A and my D buttons a bit confused there for a second on the way in. That almost went horribly wrong. Ah, so quite a few of us running the older machines. I'd be very surprised if you can't hear mines whining away in the background. What you probably sometimes think is an onboard cab noise might well be my old PlayStation 4. Lovely. Oh, was that did there the whole time? I didn't notice him on the way in. It's suddenly very busy here. Can't get the camera around it. Let's try. Yeah, there's even something in the branch line. Good lord. Ah, yeah, the distance to the stopping point, Neil. I think I know why it does that. The stopping point is a position on the track. And because you're sitting 4 or 5 yards above it, that's the closest you can ever get to it. I think is the reason it works like that. You would need to actually get off and stand on it to get that distance to come down to 0. Because if you notice in the American trains it never gets closer than about 5, but when you're on the little the old London Underground, the old 37 stock or whatever it is, you can get it down to 2, because you're almost sitting on the track in that thing. Samson says you can hear the fan on the first gen PS4 speeding up like hell when you play TSW. Mate, I can hear the fan on mine spinning up like hell when I go on Netflix. The only time it's not like torturing itself is when I'm just on the main menu bar. Honestly, I'm surprised it hasn't flown apart already. Right, I think we can use speed set most of the way, certainly to Falmer, because it's uphill most of the way. I thought we were already at 70. Nuts. Oops. Oh well, went a wee bit early, never mind. See, that's how you stay on time. You'll probably find, Neil, that's just the TSW1 issues. It's fair to say the optimization on that game was never perfect, never that brilliant. But honestly, I think for all the problems of the second one, and it has problems, there are some issues, I think it's a promising start, and I certainly think going into the next gen, a few years from now, it's going to be tremendous. I'm really excited about the auto-gen stuff they've come up with for scenery building that they reckon's going to let them do longer and longer routes. Because I've always said there's no technical reason they can't do longer routes other than the length of time it takes them to actually make the thing. Um, so, you know, 100 kilometres of track. Well, what's it, 90 odd kilometres of track on TGV? That number can no, that number's only going to keep going up and up as they get better at this. People like to compare it to the long routes on Train Sim Classic, but I mean, come on, that's been around in one form or another for the best part of 20 years. Because let's be honest, it's built on the old Microsoft Train Sim foundations. They've had a lot of time to get that all built up. I don't know why I'm braking this far away. I'm used to TGV, where you need to brake like three postcodes away. That's like 3 first half of the postcodes, not 3 second part of the postcodes. I think my timekeeping went out the window. Maybe not, actually. More passengers would be good. Did a couple of the scripted TGV scenarios earlier on, and there's one that's really cool. There's so many people piling off the train that pulls in on the next platform, and it looks really awesome. As long as you don't look too closely at it, realise there's like 4 people 100 times each, but when you're looking at it as sort of background scenery, it's incredibly effective. Right, lovely. Oh, better get ready to lock the doors. Oh, I do love those old Victorian bridges, because you can see the trains through those. Four millimeters. Whoa! Does it even measure it that close? I suppose on the metric routes it will break it down to the fractions of a metre. I've got to be honest, I don't pay too much attention to that. I aim for the signposts on the platform rather than the number at the top of the screen, generally speaking. Because some of the ones on the top, sometimes if you rely on that stopping marker, it's wrong. I've found that following that before has ended me up with a train hanging off a platform that should really have been quite comfortably on, and I've still got quite a lot of unused platform in front of me. It's a particular issue when substituting on the... Where was it? It happened to me. It happened to me on one of the German lines, and it was when I took a... It was a 146 pooled service. I remember that. And it basically seemed to think I had about 3 less carriages on the consist than was actually the case, which was nippy. beautiful. Ah, totally, Samson. Something has to go wrong. I spadded last night. I did it again earlier on. And on the Isle of Wight, the very, 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 very first station on my grand tour of all the world of Train Sim World 2, might have had to back it back up into the station after sailing through it at quite some speed. Oops. Okay, next stop London Road. I think we had a clear signal last time. Yeah, pretty sure. I've not had an AWS for a while. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I've noticed that with the doors, Neil. Some routes you can get away with going early. Really handy, especially on the Bakerloo. You can get away with it when it's still about 2/3 of the way around. You can start with your door closed. It's one of many naughty tricks you can employ to improve your timekeeping. Right, I know they're just like really badly made 3D mannequins, but it still really fucking spooks me when they step out over that yellow line as I'm coming into the station. I don't like it. Or that one dude on Rapid Transit who always wanders across that level crossing at the north end of the line. First time that I saw him, jeez, so heart was in the back of my teeth, man. Probably won't even use it, but we'll set it low just in case we feel like it. definitely my favourite part is the bit around Brighton. I love being out on that bridge, on that viaduct bridge. But I'm not even sure technically which one of the two it is. I've heard it called both. Nice. Is it a turnaround or does it leave? So from Avignon to Marseille, it's a turnaround. They go off the end of the map, west of Avignon. Although the time between them's like miles apart. There's some services that you can jump in and they're ready to go again fairly quickly, but by and large, like you'll shut it down, you'll go down the other end, and then you'll find it's like an hour till the next departure or something like that. So, aye, you can bring them down from the depot and turn them round though. Although, if you want to do like if you want to go through the full startup sequence, you're not going to be leaving on time because it's very difficult to keep to. One, if you want to do the depot ones, there is a wee cheat with the TGV that I've not really seen anywhere, because the manuals all press this 1,000,001 buttons to get the thing started before you even open the doors, and the streams they did, they were like, you know, they showed you, yeah, auxiliary power, the master switch, and you got the pantograph. You can skip a lot of that out just by opening the doors on one side. It'll take you to the point where all you have to do is activate it, like put the pantograph up and arm it, and you can go. You don't need to do the brake test; it's optional. So if you're doing one from the depot, just get it started quick as you can, nash it down to Marseille, which is like about 700 or 800 metres down the line, and then do all the brake test shenanigans there. The other thing that I would recommend doing is there is a list of sort of step by step how to get it started up on the manual, which you can download from the Steam page. It's got very little in it about shutting it down. So what I did was I did the TGV 200 tutorial, the second one, which takes you through the startup sequence, and then I did the first scenario, which teaches you at the end how to shut the cab down, and I just wrote each step of it down. I didn't worry about how the clock was ticking, just each step it told me to do, I just wrote it down. So I now have almost like like a pilot style checklist of just each control, and what I should do with it, so I can just sit and I've got, right, service retention, cancel, auxiliary power, press for 5 seconds, master act, blah 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 blah. It goes on like that. It's just two columns, the control and the action. Write those down the first time it takes you through them, and practice it a couple of times. You'll be able to set that machine up in under a minute. You'll be ready to go, easy peasy. But that's enough about TGV. God, I love that TGV. Right, so that was the first step in our little journey around the train sim world. Next time, Brighton obviously connects to London. This is a bit more of a tenuous connection, but Brighton does connect to London, although we can't drive it. So the next part of this little adventure is going to be very London centric, and then after that we'll be off to do something a little bit different by my usual standards. But that's all that I'm going to do just now. So thanks very much, those of you who have sat through it, and thanks also to anyone watching this later on. Had a great time as always, and I'll catch you guys again soon.